Hi, everyone, and welcome back to The Things We Know. Today, we're talking about something a lot of us feel as we move through our 40s and 50s, the relief of finally letting go of needing everyone's approval.
Yes. There's something almost disorienting about realizing how much energy we spend managing or spent, whether we do it still or used to, managing what other people think of us. And then one day you notice you're not doing that anymore, and it feels like exhaling after holding your breath for 20 years.
And today's guest has built an entire community around helping women get to that exact place. She's a relationship and confidence coach who spent years working through this herself and now helps other women do the same thing. So we are so glad to have her here.
So before we bring her in, we have a humble request, dear listeners. If you've been enjoying the things we know, please take a moment to like, follow, or subscribe wherever you're listening. It genuinely helps us more than you realize. And it also helps you not miss one. And it also helps other women find these conversations too. Okay, let's get into it. Lisa, you want to introduce
Awesome.
our guest?
Yes, please. Today we are joined by Lark Ericson. Lark, again, as I said, is a relationship and confidence coach, a registered nurse, an author, a speaker, and the host of a transformational retreats for women around the world through her Awkward to Awesome Women's Collective. She's built a global community. I love that helps women step out of performance, speak honestly, and build real self trust through connection. Lark and I have known each other for a while now. We've actually worked together, and Kari and I, just loved having her at our Palm Springs retreat here recently. Lark is also in the Girl on the Left anthology with me, which is out July 30th, and her chapter is called One of the Guys. So, Lark, welcome to The Things We Know. It's so great to have you.
Thank you both so much. I love listening to this podcast. I laugh, I cry, and I just feel like I'm a part of the club. So I'm really, really grateful to be here.
Yay. I love it.
I'm so glad you came to the retreat. I really just enjoyed our connection so much and so glad that you're doing the work you do.
Yeah.
So I want to start with what things looked like before your own shift. You talk about, and one of the things I love about you that you just kind of embody is you talk about women not being raised to be fully themselves, but to be accommodating, pleasant, and easy to be around. And like what happens when you start to break free of that. And I love your work around this. So can you describe what that looked like for you day to
Yeah.
day before you started to see it and kind of transform your own experience?
Yeah. I thank you for that. For me, I really felt like when I was growing up, I grew up in the country and all my friends were boys. And so that was normal. We just hung out with boys. And then you kind of go through like puberty and sexuality, and suddenly I was different, right? Because on the one hand, I'm one of the guys, but and then on the other hand, I'm also this like new sexual object to them. And also, like, what's my sexuality doing? So that was really a rocky little transition. And then as I aged, I really felt like I might be a part of, one of these last generations where they really push marriage for women. I think
Mm.
now these younger generations are really taught, like, hey, own your own house, get your own education, have your own money. And then if you want a partner, great, allow them into your life, but don't let them be your life. And for me growing up, I still think the message was pretty clear, like, get yourself a man, be taken care of. That seemed like the bigger thing. So I was absolutely boy crazy, and I absolutely lived my life to be remarkable for men. I just want that male attention. How can I be good enough for men? And
Mm.
so years of not being satisfied. As I got older, I started to realize that I wasn't living my truth, and the ways that, just like you were saying at the beginning of this podcast, how are we, just caring about everybody else and not ourselves? So when I kind of opened up into coaching, you can't become a coach and not be coached yourself. And Lisa was a big part of that. And so as you grow, you start to see all the ways you've been blind. And now, the blinders are off and I can see. And it's a brave new world out here.
That's interesting because I have never known you to be boy crazy, right? Like, granted, we've known each other. What did we figure out? We've probably known each other about 5, 6 years now,
Yeah.
right? And so I realized we started working together when you were in the master's program. So you'd already gone through and gotten your health and life coaching certification. Now you were getting your master coaching certification, and that's when we started working together. But you were already there. So like you
Mhm.
were already like you were married. We had lots of
Yeah.
conversations around that at the time. Um, so where was the switch off from being boy crazy to starting to realize like that's not the path you wanted to go down?
Well, the key to not being boy crazy is to marry one.
I
That's
mean,
the
That is
sometimes.
answer.
that's
That's
a
the
quote.
answer. You
That's
marry
a bumper
one.
sticker.
So I did get super lucky. I
Uh,
love my husband and he's the kind of guy that will do the work. But when we first got married, I had him on a pedestal. This is a
yeah.
smart man. He makes good money. I mean, I just thought he knew everything. And then over the course of time, I was like, oh, okay, like he's a human and he has flaws and kind of understanding that, kind of balancing of all of our skills and our abilities and our flaws, that's when I started to take a step back. And so I really do credit him, ironically, with helping me find myself. Like it took him to help me find
Hmm.
how to be the most independent woman because finally I was free from trying to be that girl that all the boys liked and thought I was pretty because is there nothing better than when, oh, that guy thinks I'm cute, right? Like that's what we lived for when we were younger. And now, God bless menopause, I don't give a shit. Like if you think I'm cute, please don't look at me. So I think it's very liberating.
Oh my God.
Mm.
First off, I definitely just wrote that down. It will definitely be in our socials. That is the most amazing quote. I am like, tears are coming in my eyes, holding back a laugh for that. That's amazing.
And
That's so
true.
good. Yeah. Um, so talk about the anger that also can come up when you're in the process of this transformation and this realization and the coming back to yourself. Can you
Okay.
talk about that when it started to click for you and also just kind of what you see with people you work with too?
Yeah, and I want to touch on one point. That's the part of the retreat that I remember the most is you and I that first night by the pool. We connected
Mm-hmm.
so deeply through our
Yes.
anger. And it
Yeah.
was like this force that you could like feel this bubble around us of like the power. The
Yeah.
anger for me comes out, I think it comes out in regrets when I look back at my life and I see all the time I wasted not living my life, this is when I feel it the most. Oh God, girls, I would just, yes, I'll sit and watch you play the guitar. I'll sit and watch you play video games. But like, where's my hobbies? Are you going to come to my house and watch me make a new dress? Are you going to come to my
Mm.
house and watch me make jewelry? No. But yeah, it seemed perfectly reasonable for me to give up my time and my friends and my life to watch some dude do something. And now I feel angry about that. I mean, I'm
Mm.
okay with it in a sense because it got me here, and thank God I finally got here. But I do look back. I mean, it's like even when you think about high school, wait a minute, somebody was giving me a free education for 12 years, and I thought that was annoying. Whereas now I would love a free education. So it's just those things that you look back as you get older and realize like the time that you might have wasted not living your full potential.
Mm.
So good. Okay, so I will again step back. When we first met, there was definitely there you still had the anger, right?
Oh,
It had morphed a little,
mhm.
but and then okay, so you and I worked together through HCI. We continue to work together after we both left HCI that we and but there was a little break in between.
Mhm.
And
Where I
when
left my husband
yes, well, yeah, ish, right? Like you
on
moved
an
to New
adventure.
York.
I left my husband to go on an adventure.
Right. So we keep working together and but yes, you left to go on an adventure. You stayed together. It was blessed by him, so to speak. Not like
Mhm.
you needed his permission, but he was
Yeah.
good with it. Um, But so you're right. Then we took the break while you lived in New York. And when you came back from New York, you were completely different. So
Yeah.
now, if anger shows up, because it does, right? How do you know the difference between the anger you just need to feel and the anger that you needed to actually change something that made you go to New York for a year or 18 months or whatever it was?
So I did go to New York for 18 months, and part of that was because I had reached my limit of being a wife.
Yeah.
That and not my husband, he's a great man, but the power dynamic and all of the mental load and everything dumped on me and me being in charge of everything. I looked around and I was like, is this all there is just like infinite chores until I die? And so I he was fine with it. He understood. And so I got a cute little, apartment in New York. And it was really rough at first. I was through a major depression, just kind of coping with everything. But then when I came out of it, I got to reconnect with the Lark that I could have, should have been when I was younger and the way I could have lived my life. And then when I had that time, that's when I started to realize I needed a bigger community. And
Mm.
so that was when I started reaching out and trying to, build spaces where we could connect. And so when it comes to your question about the anger, I had this really interesting fight happen the other day with my husband, argument or something, and it's stuck with me so much. So back when I used to be angry, any little thing would piss me off, and I could be so angry and I could hold on to that anger because I had so much other anger that any little slight, I was
Mm.
like, yeah, just throw it in the pot. And I was like a bubbling cauldron of rage. So I've done a lot of work on myself. I've done a lot of work with you. And last week, he didn't clean the gutters. And guess what? The roof flooded and now there's a crack in my ceiling. And like, oh, okay, this is something that I've asked you to do multiple times, right? So it could have been something that I could have been really pissed about. But it was so fascinating. I was able to be like, I'm upset about this situation happening and I feel resentment that I have to ask you to do this, and even if I ask you to do this you might not do it fully and now the roof's leaking, but I'm not angry at you. So how's your day going? Are you having a good day? How's work? And it was like the coolest moment of being like in both worlds. Like, I still loved him. I hope he had a good day. Let's talk about it. And dude, you kind of suck at this thing and that's upsetting. And I think he was expecting more anger from me. And he was like, what is happening? So it's cool to see that anger evolve too, that it's like mad at the person or mad at the situation.
Hmm.
Love that. That's amazing. I mean,
I
that is huge. That is huge.
That describes a recent thing Lisa knows about where I was like, I'm so pissed about this, but I love you. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
that's great. I love it. Um, One of my favorite things about you, because it's like I've known you, but we didn't really get that connection until the retreat. Is to me, there's your brand of, and like this thing you claim, which is authentic for you, and it is for just about everyone, which is like awkward to awesome, and this whole like, but honestly, because you are so accessible and you're so direct that I think you belong anywhere, because the whole secret, that is out there is once you belong to yourself, you belong anywhere.
Mm.
Mhm.
Right. And that's the work you do. But I'm just curious, like how do you do you describe that? Like what
Mhm.
did that transition look like for you? Like feeling like you didn't belong so much to the point that you're trying to like help other women with that as well. But also I'm really curious if you can speak to it. Like, do you notice that like you kind of own it, even though it's like not really your experience anymore?
Absolutely. I have to say what you just said, once you belong to yourself, you belong anywhere. That made me tear up. And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna write that down and give that to my people. Um, yeah, I've always felt like an outsider. I have a very non-traditional upbringing, hippie parents, being on nudist communes and no boundaries, just, yeah, kind of a different upbringing. And so I would go into situations. Now I'm so open and honest and lovey-dovey. So I want to know everything about you. And then apparently people don't like that when you just like glom onto people and want to like get in their brains. It's really good that I'm a coach because now I get paid to do that. But, I didn't know that. And so I've had so many experiences in my life where I felt weird or awkward or just not right. Like I just feel like I don't quite belong. Like even having the shaved head, I see beautiful women with hair and I want to belong to that club, but like I'm not a woman that can have hair. Like this is me. And so kind of accepting that. So I started this group originally. I started this meetup group, Awkward to Awesome Meetup. It's co-ed, so anybody can join. And I thought maybe 20 other weirdos are going to join with me. And we're going to meet once a week and we're just going to like chat about whatever. This is what I thought. I now have over 22,000 members worldwide. I can't even comprehend how big that number is. And um, it's grown into something amazing. We have guest speakers, we have classes on how to communicate, how to have boundaries, life lessons that nobody taught you, right? Because like that's why I felt weird is I wasn't taught certain things. And now we're teaching people that. One of my favorite things about my group that fills my heart is that it is truly made for people that don't belong, that don't feel like they belong. And so we've got people all across the spectrum with different mental health disorders, with different disabilities. We have people with brain injuries. We have people who are agoraphobic. And so the only time they socialize is in our group.
Mm.
And so when you come together in this community, you feel the love. And it's just so powerful when we get into it. And it's like everybody knows we accept whoever. And you might have somebody that's like different than you, and that's okay. So it's become a very loving place. And it's funny, I do definitely feel like I belong to myself now. I think having these people in my group who love me and who accept me, they have made me feel like I belong because I show up to that group and I stutter, I'm confused, I'm failing at technology. Like it can be messy. It's not great. And they're like, you know what, Lark, we love you. It's so great. Everything's great. And to have that love and acceptance in return from these people has made me feel even more sure about myself.
Mm. I love this so much. I'm curious. I was talking to somebody the other day and I couldn't remember. There was a word I used to refer to myself and I couldn't remember what it was. And you said weird, and I think that was the word I used to refer to myself. And I had a coach in the same way I was your coach. So to be like, you're not weird. And I'm like, no, 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 I own that word. Like I realize I'm not for everyone, right? Were you and I having this conversation? Was
Well,
this
yeah, we just had that
okay?
last week because I was
Okay.
like, I'm
It was
weird. And you
you.
were like, I don't think you're weird anymore. Like, you should let
Well,
that
but
go.
it's a different okay, you're right. Because
But
when we were
you own it.
talking, no, say what I said.
You own the weird, but you said,
I own the
I
weird.
don't think that you own the weird.
Correct.
You thought that I was still saying it as a form of a little bit of a personal dig
Derogatory.
to myself. Yeah.
Right.
And you are absolutely right.
Okay. Okay.
You
Yes.
are
Thank you.
right.
It was you that we were, God, it feels like a million years ago since we talked, but yeah, right. It was just like last week.
It's just last Wednesday.
That's crazy. Um, yeah. So you're right. Again, like I have owned that. I own that. I realize most people don't look at me and think I'm weird, but I do. I think, I don't feel out of place per se, or I own my out of placeness. And I think that's where you've gone, right? That's why I think I wanted to sort of reframe that for you or just point it out because I think you own all of this in such a beautiful way that that's why everybody in this group feels so because you say, you have 22,000 people, but on your meetups, you have like 1,000 people show up to this thing. This is not just fake numbers. These are real
Yeah.
numbers,
Real
real
people show
people.
up.
Yeah. And so I think you do own it. That's why I was surprised that you were the way I heard you using the word. I was like, this doesn't make sense to me for you.
Yeah.
So you said I was right. Thank you. But also, do you really understand that that might have been, we were talking about other things, that might have been a moment in time. But do you own awkward and weird now?
Yeah. Well, since you don't remember, I'll tell you your brilliant advice you gave me.
Okay.
You said maybe instead of calling yourself weird, call yourself unique.
Mm,
And
yeah.
that really, really stuck with me. And so I've been like marinating on that all week. It's like, no, I am unique. I'm
Oh
not
yeah.
weird anymore. I don't feel weird because I do belong to myself now and therefore I belong everywhere, but I am
Mhm.
unique. And I love my uniqueness
Yeah.
Mhm.
because with my wide breadth of experiences, because I have done some unique things in my life. With that breadth of experience, I'm so accepting and not judgmental. And I think that's what makes me a really good coach. And I have very unique conversations with people. And they're like, oh gosh, is this going to be too weird? And I'm like, I don't even know where my line is. Like for what you're going to tell me, I don't know where the line is. So let's just work on you. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think changing it to unique and really owning it has been very helpful, Lisa. Thank you for your brilliant words.
You're welcome. You're right. I didn't remember. But again,
So
right, that's the
think,
thing that's so amazing about coaching, right? Is I was reflecting back to you, right? I
Mhm.
don't often, and I know Carrie does this, you know this, like you don't often remember what you say because really it's just a reflection of what we're seeing of you. And yes,
yeah,
you are very unique in the most beautiful, spectacular way.
Thank you.
yeah. I do, I do love how transparent you are too, that realizing that you can let go of weird because that's self-protective
Hmm.
Mhm.
and you have a lot to say and you're important in a room for sure. And weird can sometimes make us be like, I'm going to stand over here. I don't know. It is
Right.
It's like a
self-protective.
self-fulfilling
Yeah.
prophecy. If I go into a
Yeah.
situation being like, I'm the weirdo, then I'm going to act weird. But if I
Yes.
go in and own it, I'm so unique and you all want to meet me, that's different energy.
Right. Right.
Totally.
I get that a little bit with people always telling me, oh, you're Aquarius. That's quirky. Some people get you. So then I just kind of like, oh, I'm not going to try. You might not get me.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's a pass. You talk about, and I love this phrase that you talk about just how you I mean you do like if anyone meets you on a plane or in a restaurant. I mean, one of our other guests met you just randomly the night before. And I just think you come across this way, like whether you're working or not, this is what you love with people, which is just getting people's story and being really curious about how they can move forward without blowing up their life, right? And that's the work you do. And I love that phrase. Was what does that actually look like in practice? Because I think that's why people don't take seriously their desire to move forward because they think they have to blow up their life to do
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. I have a lot of middle-aged clients, both men and women. And it is you as you guys know, like this is a very unique time in our lives where we're trying to, I don't know, for the first time we really kind of see like the time is shortening. So I don't
Mm.
have that much time. What do I want to do with this? Plus, we actually know ourselves in this deep way. Like God, I love being in my 40s. Like the way I know and love myself, you couldn't pay me to be in my 20s again. And so it's like, how do I honor and nurture this amazing human being? So a lot of my clients are going through these similar stories. And then they're like, well, so then do I have to quit my job and change careers? Do I have to get a divorce and find somebody new? Do I need to move across the country? And the work is like, oh my God, that just seems like awful to me. Like those, you can definitely do those big shifts, but that's going to blow up your life and then shift you down a different path, right? Like once you get a divorce, like now you're divorced version of yourself, and that's like a whole new road. Versus what are these little things you can do in your life that can be more authentic, that gets to get to the nugget of who you are as an individual while still maintaining like that clarity, compassion, and commitment to your family, the career, whatever it is that you've worked for. And so it's really fun working with people in our age group because we are just
Mm,
so rich and textured in our minds and our souls, and it's really interesting work.
mm,
When you think back to and maybe this isn't the line in the sand, but again, I feel like there was such a shift when you spent the time in New York and
Mhm.
you came back different and more in love. And so, thinking about that time, what did you find yourself keeping of Lark and what did you let go of in your identity, in your relationships, just in general?
So, really, really good question. There's two things. The first is that I really realized that no matter where you go, there you are. And it
Period.
was like I thought I was so miserable in my life because I was so bored and I was so routine. And I thought, oh, it's my life and it's my husband, right? And so I was going to blow up my life. And I moved
Yep.
to New York and now here I am, Big Apple. There's so much to do and see. And of course, I did a bunch. It was amazing. But ultimately, what happened after a few months of all that amazing exploration, I was right back to being Lark, who likes to
Mm.
get up early. I like to exercise. I like to go to bed early. I cook dinner for myself, and I don't socialize very much. Like I'm a pretty isolated individual. And so it was really eye-opening that it was like, oh, I'm just still me. My house, my husband, my life, that actually wasn't the problem. I am the mountain basically. And so that was the really interesting thing. And then during that time in New York, I've always kind of struggled with depression on and off, never been medicated for it, but like it cycles through. And so I had a really bad depression, I think maybe 2023, 2024. And this was kind of when I was like, that's it. I'm done with everything. I don't want to build a business. I don't want to coach. Like, I just didn't want anything. I was so miserable. And I really, we went through I did the PQ program, which I introduced Lisa to, and I went through that program and really, really identified what particularly made me hate myself so much. Like, what were the
Mm.
actual little things that made me think Lark wasn't worthy or good enough or stupid or whatever? And working through that process, there's this one thing you do. One of the modules is empathy. And well, I get up to the empathy module and it was like, you're supposed to have love and empathy and compassion for yourself. I wasn't able to do that. It took me weeks because
Wow.
I hated myself so much. How am I supposed to just give myself empathy and love? But I worked it and worked it and worked it. And one day I just saw myself so clearly as like this beautiful human that better for worse, like I don't stop. I keep trying and I'm a good person and I live a life of service. And I saw myself as a whole and not the
Mm.
parts of all the shitty parts that I think, but as a whole with like the good and the bad and everything's okay. And just having that amazing epiphany and awakening. And I literally haven't had any depression since. And my husband
Mm,
feels like he got a new wife and it's been amazing. Like I'm a new person.
wow.
I agree.
Mm.
I mean, as someone who that just sort of knew you on the periphery until we connected in Palm Springs, I would never have guessed you hated yourself. Like you have an admirable self-esteem that comes across, and so that is beautiful to know that like it was hard fought.
Mm. And it brings up the topic you guys brought up at the beginning that, you know, how we are living our lives based on this other way of like how
Mm.
we think we're supposed to be. And so I was constantly measuring myself against everybody else. And like if you measure yourself against everybody else, especially everybody on Instagram and Facebook, like you're going to fail. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a
And
losing game.
it's a losing game. But when I look at myself and it's like, that kindness and generosity that I have in my heart is is genuine to me. Like that's not something I have to fake. And the thing that I give the most in the world is that love and empathy and understanding. That's true to me. And that can't be taught. And so for me, having that realization of like, okay, so maybe I'm not amazing in these ways, but I'm amazing in this way. And can't that be good
Mm.
enough? So it's been really, really, really beautiful. Like I've never loved myself and now I love myself. And that's like, it's a weird thing to say to feel, but like I genuinely appreciate this person who's been on this journey with me. We've been on some ups and downs, but she's great.
That's it's
And
gorgeous.
if I just may pop in real quick, is Carrie, I totally agree with you. Even when I met her 6 years ago, right? Like there was never a sense of self-loathing. So
Hmm.
I think there, I wouldn't say you were faking it till you make it, but you had a kernel even back then. And again, granted, you'd already gone through some of the growth, but there you just kept working at it, right? And so now it feels so, maybe that's what I noticed when you got back from New York too. Like it felt so whole versus like piecemeal, right? Like I know I'm a really good coach. I know I'm good at things, but it felt like and obviously it went through the PQ system. Like there was this you able to just like bring all those pieces together and become whole and have the self-esteem from a very grounded place versus like I feel good over here, I feel good over here, but I don't feel good here. Does that
Hmm.
make sense?
Yeah.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
that leads into literally two things that I try to tell most of my clients. One is just don't quit. And I don't mean that in like a horrible hustle, slave, yourself to death kind of way. I mean, like, try an alternate new route,
Mm.
pivot, 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 pivot. But you don't fail, as long as you don't quit. And so that's for me, it's like it doesn't matter which direction it takes or what it looks like, but just don't quit. And then the greatest epiphany I had that's really helped me, and I tell this to my clients, is that you are going to fail. You're going to fail so much. You're going to fail all the time. Like you're never going to not fail for the rest of your life. And then sometimes you're going to succeed and then you're going to fail a bunch some more. And once you realize that, it all becomes a lot less stressful. Because, like,
Hmm.
mm.
I have failed, and you guys all know we all own our own businesses. And it's like, how we've failed epically more than we succeeded. And then when you succeed, it's like, hell yeah. But
Yeah.
once you're okay with that understanding, that deep, like, coexistence with failure, you just keep moving on.
Mm.
I'm really loving what you said about being like knowing you're someone of service. That's definitely how I identify. My whole background is, in community service
Yeah.
and nonprofit work. So I'm curious because we all work with teachers, nurses, and people who, are very other focused. So like for people in that world of caring for others constantly, you're a beautiful example of like how to do that in a healthy way.
Yeah.
So, like, how did that background obviously, bring you here and then like keep you there? Like, how do you identify that way, but like serve yourself first?
I so love that you asked this question. My background is that I was a nurse and I got into nursing because I really do love to care for people. So I remember, being a nurse and you have to wait for the doctor's orders and you have to do exactly what the doctor says and you only have a limited time and you can't care, in the way that you'd want to. It's very, very limited, which is fine. Like it's medicine and we want that to be monitored and strict. Like that's great. Let's keep that. But what I came to realize is that my my gift was all the bedside manner. I could be next to anybody going through the worst moments of their lives, and I could make them feel not so bad about it. And so I realized, like, could I provide care and love and support in a way that also I'm not being, like taken advantage of or abused by a boss? And so that's how I found coaching. And my mission statement, literally since day one, before I even knew what I was doing, my mission statement is this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. And that's been my guiding principle because I know I have so much to offer and I need to be able to do it my way. And so fast forward, I have clients all over the world. I'm helping with all kinds of things and I'm making a difference. And I get to decide my schedule. I can take off anytime I want. Nobody's being a jerk to me. And so it's like when you can find that path of having that freedom that you want while being of service, you can have both. You don't have to live under the thumb of like a stereotypical caregiving situation.
Mm.
Mm.
What do you want people to know about the Awkward to Awesome Women's Collective? You have the Awkward to Awesome meetup, and as you said, that's co-ed, and then you started the collective. And maybe you don't want to talk about the collective specifically, but just in general, when you think, what if somebody's listening right now and they want to join this, what would you tell them about that?
I would love to tell you about the collective because, and I mean this in the best possible way, it's awkward, right? Like it's a new adventure for all of us, and we're figuring it out together what it means.
Mm,
So, talk about failure. I created this women's group and I had such a sure idea. I mean, I had it
hmm
exactly what I thought it was going to be. And then we get in there, it's on Zoom on Thursday nights at 6:30 Eastern, and we get in there and it's completely different because it's not
mm,
just me running the show. It's all these women that are there going through their own things. And so I have a theme every month that we're working through. This month is the life I thought I had. So it's really
mm.
talking about regrets and paths we didn't take. And so we're going through that experience, and then and then of course, just like these conversations, you go on side tangents because somebody's mom is sick or
Mm.
somebody's kid is graduating, and so it's really become just a space to bond with women and be together, and it's evolving into what it needs to be for them. So it's like they're kind of inventing it along with me.
I
Mm.
love that. That's so cool.
I have two questions because you said you work with men and women. So, like, I guess, like, what would you like women listening who, for like themselves, like if they haven't taken any steps, but like something you're saying is kind of moving them to want to do something for themselves, right? To move forward, whether they feel awkward or they feel like they don't belong or they just, and then also anyone listening who is male or who loves a male, like a male person who also, kind of wants to figure out where they find that kind of community. What would you want, like those
Yeah.
two? Yeah.
For the men, um, sorry. For the men, I think that they are just raised differently. They don't build communities the way we build. I have so many men in my life and my clients who, want friends, but they also don't know how to make the effort to maintain those friendships. And so, what this community provides is that we meet twice a month and they're seeing the same men in this group twice a month. So it's like a means of having that interaction without like having to actually text somebody and make a pickleball date or whatever. And so we've seen a lot of people come in this group and then branch out and later become like video game buddies outside of our group. And
Cool.
people have gone on to date each other outside of our group. So it's really good for men to have that. For the women, the most unbelievable thing that I think, if you're just listening to this and you're curious about it, is that there's absolutely going to be another woman in that group that's experiencing something that you're
Mm.
experiencing or has had an experience in that. And so we have women who are dealing with abusive relationships. We have women who are in polyamorous relationships. We have 20-year-olds who are trying to figure out what they want to be when they grow up. We have grandmas that are just like, I don't know, I'm just happy to be here. And so everybody is helping each other in some way with some information. And my honest favorite is when you have like the 20-something-year-olds giving like pep talks and advice to the like 60-year-olds. And it's so beautiful because I think as we age, we are so certain we know everything and we're right. And
Mm.
then you have these like beautiful young women waking up and they have these great revelations that we can't see anymore. And I love those like cross-generational, helping sessions.
I mean, that's exactly what Carrie and I love about our retreats. We have
Yep.
that same cross section of generations, and it's just so fun. Plus the community, right? Like you are creating online what Carrie and I have created in person.
Hmm.
Women heal in community.
Mhm.
Yes.
I
Yeah,
love it.
I find for myself, I look forward to it. I usually have like a companion book that we'll read. You don't have to read it, but it's there. And so we always have some talking point to jump out of, but then also we get back together and you're like, oh my God, how was that trip? Or how was that conversation with your husband? And so having that kind of continuity through our lives without it being this obligation, because I think a lot of the times too, it's really hard in real life to be keeping up socializing, right? That's time, that's money, that's energy versus like you could hop on a Zoom with me for an hour twice a month and we would be able to reconnect. And I think that's been a really beautiful part of this community.
Mm.
So good. I'm so proud of you and so proud of you creating the collective in particular because that was one of those things that just sort of like a bolt of lightning. You know, you and I had been working together and you were like, I'm like the bigger group. And then all of a sudden you're like, I got an idea.
Yeah.
And and I love that you're co-creating it with the people. I mean, again, Carrie and I feel that to some extent at the retreat. You know, we have our agenda, but then we kind of feed off of how it works for you guys as the day and the sessions go on, and we shift sometimes with it. So I love that you're co-creating that. It's just it sounds beautiful. So
Mhm.
congratulations on all of
Thank
that.
you. Yeah, at your retreats, what I really loved about it is that what I personally felt because I came in, I was like dealing with my own things, and then I heard all these other women kind of struggling with similar things. And I think I cried every day just because I was like so relieved to
Yeah.
not be holding it together and to be in a
Mm.
space where I didn't have to hold it together because you guys were holding it for us. And
Mhm.
so it was really nice for us, I think, to just like have
Breathe.
that
Mm.
little bit of time to decompress. So thank you guys for hosting those.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you.
You reminded me one of my favorite things too is the way guests hold space for each other too, which
Mhm.
like you can't
Hmm.
script that. It's just really the quality of the people we attract, and it's so beautiful. Like your presence there meant so much to other people, and to hear that like you felt that way, you felt held in the same way is just it's really the best part.
Yeah. And it was just like a really beautiful resort and the food was great. I mean, that doesn't hurt either.
No, it
That's true.
doesn't.
That's true.
All right. So before we wrap up, we always like to ask our guests about a song that means something to them. And you told us the song for you was Hustle by Pink. So tell us why that one.
Um, it's just like my fight song. I turn it
Nice.
on and it pumps me up. And everybody who knows me is like, oh, yeah, that's your jam. Because it's
Mm.
like, why are you trying to mess with me? Like, what's this? And I think that's like more like my middle-aged fight song. Because when I was younger, I was okay with like different variations of mistreatment. I could suffer any amount of abuse to get what I wanted. That was my previous
Mm.
I
life.
remember that.
And now I'm like, no, 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 don't hustle me. Like, if you are going to make my life worse, more difficult, if you're going to be a jerk, like, move it along. And so for me, that's a very empowering song. And it's great to dance to.
I
Mm.
love Pink. We love Pink. She's a
I love
big
pink.
fan for us.
Mhm.
Yes. Real quick, the nerdy part of me that always wants to make reference, that part about that we talked about at the beginning, belonging to yourself first. It comes from, for me, that quote. Maya Angelou, I think it was like in the 70s, did a interview with Bill Moyers, and Brene Brown references it in Braving the Wilderness. And this is the quote, I looked it up. You are only free when you realize you belong no place. You belong every place, no place at all. The price is high. The reward is great.
Mm,
Love that.
Yeah.
wow.
And that's so you. That's so
Yep.
beautiful. It's the work you're doing. Okay. So before we let you go, tell our listeners where they can find you and learn more about you and join your community.
Thank you. So you can see me three different ways. If you want to join the big group, the Awkward to Awesome Confidence for the Socially Awkward, that's on Meetup. It's totally free. So there's literally no obligation. It's completely fine for you. Once you get into that, we will have links to other things if that's just kind of, the easy doorway. Otherwise, look up the Awkward to Awesome Women's Collective. And that's where we meet 2 Thursdays a month at 6:30 Eastern. And then otherwise, you can get a link from Lisa and Kari about how to work with me one-on-one if you would like to kind of just go through whatever it is that you're struggling with right now, whether it's relationships, confidence, or you don't even know what you're struggling with, but God, you need help just figuring that out, I'm here for it. So that is how you can reach me. And I really hope I get some of the listeners just because I'd love to build this community between us even more.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And again, she is in the second edition of the Girl on the Left anthology with me, which is super fun. I'm so excited that we're co-authors in that anthology, and that is out July 30th. I know it's going to be on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. It is, you can download it, but there's also hard copies, and I'm super psyched for everybody to read not only our stories, but all the other, I guess that'll be 18 other stories of women and what they've gone through. I am struck that you were my student still when Kari and I started the pod. And I remember you were probably one, if not the only student I told about this about. And you immediately, again, you were in a totally different space. So we were going to talk about something completely different. But you were like, I need to be on there. I was like, you do need to be on there. Again, I remember the topic. It was not this topic.
It was not this topic.
We were both going through it a little bit at the time. And we're like, yes, this is what we're going
Yeah,
to talk
we
about.
we have bonded over some shared stuff earlier in our relationship.
Totally. Well, regardless, this has been spectacular. It's been such a rich conversation. I am so glad that we finally got you on here. And it feels, as always, like divine right timing. This is exactly when you needed to be on because you are so holistically yourself. Um, I'm just, I love you and I'm so proud of you. And I know this is only the beginning.
Thank you.
Yes.
It means a
Thanks.
lot to me from you, Lisa, because you've seen the whole journey.
Yeah.
And so for me to be where I'm at, you don't have an impression that I was born this way. Like you know what I fought to do to get here. So I love that you have seen me through that whole journey.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Mm.
It's very fun. Very fun.
I've loved this time with you. Thank you so much. Just seeing your face again and just what a presence you have. What a great conversation this is going to be for our listeners. So thank
Thank you.
you.
And
And
I can't wait to go to maybe not the next retreat, but the one after that. Can't
yeah,
wait to see
and
you guys again.
thank you everyone for listening to this episode. And if it resonated with you, again, please share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Anyone that, has confided in you that they feel a little awkward. This is the person they need to listen to. So please share it with a friend. I know they'll get a lot out of listening to Lark, and we'll see you next time.
And all her links are in the show notes. So go look there. And again, thanks everyone. We'll be back next week with something else we know. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.